Hi all, in this video we're going to look at the 2018 Ordinary Level DCG Surface Geometry question. So that is the Section C question 3. This is the question of the handbag that we're going to look at. Okay, just make sure we note on the question that the handbag has a lid, which is the curved surface on the top. So let's get started. First thing we're going to do is we're going to draw the elevation. So I'm going to draw the elevation up towards the top left hand side of my page. So to start with this, we're going to draw a light line across. That's going to be my XY line. Now this question, if we look closely, it's slightly different to other questions, okay? We've been given a center line. If we look to the left and right of that center line, it's a mirror image. So we're going to use that center line to help us draw the question. So I'm going to just draw down a center line here, and again I'm going to use that to help with my measurements left and right. So if we look at our measurements, our width measurements there in elevation, we've two of those. We've a 60 and a 70. So I'm going to mark both of those off. So 70, again, if we mark from the center line, it's going to be 35 each side, and if we mark the 60, it's going to be 30 each side of the center line. I'm going to draw those lines straight down because we're going to need those in plan also. Once we've the widths done, the next job for us to do is to mark off the heights. Again, if we look at our question, we can see we've two heights. We've an overall height of 80 and we have another height of 20. So I'm going to mark those off. So I'm going to come up 20 and I'm also going to mark off at 80. Okay, I'm going to draw those light lines all the way across. Why? Because we're going to need them in our end view. Remember our rule, whatever height it is in elevation, it's the same height in end view. Once we've that done, we can actually go ahead now and draw in our elevation. The only other thing we need to do is we need to mark off the 60-degree lines to the side. So again, we can see that in our question, 60 degrees to the left and to the right at the bottom. Now just be careful, they start at our 60 mil lines, okay? So it comes out from the 60 at 60 degrees, and that's going to join then back up to the 70 mil at the top. Okay, so I'm going to do the same on the left hand side, out at 60 and up to the 70 mil at the top. So that's going to give us the outline of this. So I'm just going to go ahead and use an ink and pen to draw those in so it's a little bit clearer for us. Okay, so you can just lean heavier on your pencil and you're going to get the exact same finished product, okay? So again, this is just for clarity so you can see things a little bit easier on the video. Okay, so once I've that done, the next thing for me to do is to find out the curve. So we can see again in the question it's radius 60. So what we need to do is we need to find out where the center is. As we can see in the question, we're not given the center. So we know that the center is going to be somewhere up here. It starts and finishes to the left and right of this. So we can say it starts here and it's going to finish over here. Again, we've looked at this in previous videos, but if we look at a circle, we can see that the outside of the circle is going to be equal distance from the center. Okay, so what's that distance? It's the radius. So any point in the outside of the circle is going to be the radius distance from the center. So we can use that to our advantage up here. We know that the radius is 60, so therefore we know the center is going to be 60 away from both these points. So to find the center, we're going to take our compass and we're going to open it up to 60. Once we've that opened up to 60, we're going to put the point of the compass on the start point and we're going to swing an arc. We're going to do the exact same from the end point, and where those two arcs meet is going to give us the center of the arc. So this arc we know is going to go from the center to the very start point and all the way around to our end point. We're just marking off the start and end of this. We're going to put the point of our compass then at the center that we found, open it up to the start point, and we should be able to draw in a nice neat curve, radius 60 all the way around there. Once you've that done, you've got the elevation fully complete, and it's time for us then to move on to the plan. Again, to set up the plan, we know that we have to step down a distance, so we're going to just leave that about 20 or 30 millimeters from the elevation to the plan. And again, we can see in our question that our plan is a depth of 25. So I'm going to just mark off 25 down, and again draw a light line across. Once I've that done, we need to just bring down the outside width. So we can see we've got the top width here, we've got the bottom width here, but I don't have these angles at 60 degrees because we weren't told how far to measure out for those. So we just got to make sure we bring those down as well, so we get the overall width and plan. Okay, so now we can see we have the overall width. When we've that done, we can go ahead then and draw in this in heavy. So I've got the whole outside of the handbag in plan, and again we can see it is all the way across the very outsides. So we're going to draw those in heavy because I can see those edges. Now we've got two other sets of lines either side. What are we doing with those? Well, again, we know from the plan we're looking straight down the top. What do we see? Well, we see the two parts at the top here, okay, where the sloped edges turns into the curved edge. We can see those, okay, they're going to be visible, so they're going to be a heavy line. What else do we notice? Well, we've got where the sloped edges come back down here to meet the base, okay, we can see the two edges of the base. That is underneath, it's going to be hidden by the top, so it's going to appear as a dotted line. It's a hidden detail line. Now, once you've that done, you've got part A of the question done. We've got the elevation, and we've got the plan fully complete. To do the end view of the question then, we know that we're going to come up, it doesn't tell us what side to do, so we're going to do to the right hand side here. So we know we have to come up, bring our depth from our plan up to our end view. So we're going to come up here at 45 degrees using our 45 degree set square, bringing those edges all the way up, and we'll bring them straight up. Okay, so our two rules are enforced here. Whatever height it is in the elevation, it's the same height in end view, and whatever depth it is in plan is the same depth in end view. Okay, so we need to have those. Once you've that done, you've basically got your end view finished. Okay, we're now looking in from the left, so remember we've drawn it on the right, so when we look in from the left, what do we see? Well, we can see the overall height and outline of this handbag. So we have those here. We can see the bottom of the handbag. We can see this edge of the handbag, so we can see that the sloped edges changes. And also we can see the top. Okay. The only other thing that we want to mark off is that we want to show that there's this curved surface in there. So when we're looking in here, if we leave it like this, it would appear that it's a flat top on it. But we know it kind of dips down here because of the curve. So I'm going to go take to the bottom of the curve, and that's going to appear as a dotted line coming across there. Okay. When you've that done, that is your end view done. That is part B fully complete. Okay, so we're going to just write down what that is. That is my end view. Our next job then is to look at the development of this piece. So again, what we're going to do is we're going to be looking at a ribbon development. Okay, so what are we looking at there in our ribbon development? Well, basically we've got the front and back of this handbag here. Okay, and we know the front and back is the exact same. And what we've got then are all these sides and bases and this curved top, but that's been wrapped around in between the front and back. So again, if we look at our masking tape, we've got basically a front, a back that are the same, and then we've got the tape itself that is just wrapped around that. Okay, so that's going to be the exact same. We're creating this ribbon of masking tape, and all we're doing is rolling that up, okay, all the way around with our front and our back the exact same shape, and this is the same thickness the whole way around. So we're going to be doing that with ours. Again, if we look at the elevation, we can see, okay, the edge of all our sides, and generally we have that in these questions. We have one view where we can see the edges, and then we have another view where we can see the thickness of them. Okay, the view that we can see the edges in, that's the view we're going to label. So we can just make sure we don't miss any points. So I'm going to start right up here at the top. I'm going to call that point 1, 2, 3 and 4. There's going to be the base. Then I'm coming up the other side, 5 and 6. Okay. So I can see that as long as I work my way all the way around, I'm going to have all those edges. Okay, all I have to do is draw the front and the back then, okay, the elevation again, and if I keep the same thickness as my plan and my end view, I'm going to have this development fully done. So I'm going to get started on that then. We're going to come up here and I'm going to draw a light line all the way across. Now again, in your exam folks, you're going to have bigger sheets than this, so we shouldn't have a problem whatsoever fitting it on the sheet. But hopefully we'll be able to get this fitted on the sheet neatly without it coming into any of our other views, okay? I'm going to start right over here, all the way over on the left. I'm going to keep it nice and close to the edge of my sheet, and that's going to be the start point of my ribbon. What is the thickness of this ribbon? Well, it's 25 millimeters high, the exact same as it is in a plan and my end view. So I'm going to draw that ribbon all the way across, okay? So that there is the thickness of the ribbon, and we're going to wrap that all the way around here. So I'm going to start and I'm going to call this point 1 right here. So I want to step off all these other points all the way around. So to do that, I'm going to take my compass. I'm going to start at point 1, point the compass on 1, open up to point 2. I'm going to take that distance and mark it off here along the bottom. So there is point 2. I'm going to do the exact same thing now with point 2 to 3, so the next side, and there's 2 to 3. Again, I'm just taking one at a time and I'm labeling those. I'm then going to work at the base. The base is from 3 to 4. Take that, step it off. That's point 4. Going to come back up this side then from 4 to 5. Going to mark that off. And we're going to come up from 5 to 6. So once you've that done, then you've got most of our points already labeled. Next thing we have to do is worry about the top of this. Okay, so the top is the curve. Now again, we've talked about this before. I can't just take the distance from 6 to 1 like we did with all these other points, because that line, that edge, is in the same length as this curve. This curve is going to be bigger because it goes all the way down here. Now we can't take the exact distance of this curve. All we can do is trying to split it up into smaller equal distances. So that's what I'm going to do. Again, we could go to all the hassle of trying to work out the degrees and everything like that, but I don't think there's any need. I think it's just as quick as if we split it up here. We're going to split it up into maybe 3 or 4 different spaces. So I'm going to use 1, 2, and I'm going to use the center line as well that I've already been given. So we've got 4 equal spaces, 3 lines, and I'm going to just label those. So there's A, B, C, and we're back into 1. So all I need to do now is take those distances, the exact same, treat this curve now the exact same as all the rest of the lines. Go from 6 to A. Okay, there's 6 to A, mark that off. I'm going to go from A to B, B to C, and all the way around. The only advantage, folks, of splitting it equally into equal degrees, like we may have done in our junior cert, would be that you wouldn't have to take each of these individually. But the time it might take to split it up and everything else might actually just work out the exact same as taking these. So it may not be any advantage. So I've those stepped off. I'm going to label those then. That was A, B, C, and you notice there I went all the way back to point 1 again. Just remember with your development, whatever point you start with, you must finish with. So now that we've all those done, we can actually go ahead and draw in our development, okay, our part of our ribbon anyways. So I'm going to bring that edge up. Again, we can see the ribbon. So I'm going to go all the way over along the bottom. Now you can notice here I've left the space between 3 and 4 empty. Why is that? Because that's going to be the base where I'm going to put my front and back on. Again, Why am I leaving that blank, not a heavy line? Because we're going to be attaching the front to it. So what are we going to do along that line? We're going to fold. So again, remember, for our fold lines, we use a dotted line. Okay, so we fold along that. And we can do the exact same with all these other edges, okay? So 1, that's a heavy line because it's the very end. What happens at point 2? We're going to fold, okay? So we have a dotted line there. At point 3, we're folding, okay? So at point 2, it's folding from the surface 1, 2, folding to the surface 2, 3. We're folding at point 3 from this surface to the base, okay? So anytime there's a fold, we have to put in a dot line. So if you imagine if we were to actually make this development and cut it out, the rules would be to fold or to cut along a solid line and to fold along a dotted line. Okay, so now we've those done. Do I need to put any fold lines on these yellow ones for the curve? Not really, because we're not technically folding on those lines. We're just literally bending the piece all the way along there. So it's not an actual fold. I'm going to go ahead now and draw the top of this ribbon. Okay, all the way over. Remember to stop between 3 and 4 because that's going to be your dotted edge, where we're again folding the front to the base and we're drawing it all the way over then in heavy to the edge. So once you've that done, we've got most of the development done. I'm going to just go ahead now and label these parts. So let's call this maybe the top side, and I'm going to call it the right. It's on the right. We'll call this one the bottom side right. I'm going to call this the base. We'll call this one then over here, this is the bottom side left, and this one then the top side left. And here then we've got our curve. Okay, the curve top. Once you've all that done, you've got basically most of the different parts. The last thing we need to do is do the front and back of our development. To do the front and the back of our development, we need to basically redraw the elevation in these views. Okay, so we're going to just use the same measurements, the same techniques and stuff that we use already, just over here. Now we've already got the base, okay, so this edge here, which was again 4 and 3. So if I label that again for you, we have that edge. So all we have to do is use that the exact same as we use this. So how do we draw the elevation? Well, we found the center line and we measured from that. So we're going to do the same thing here. The base is 60 wide, so the center will be at 30. So I'm going to use that as my center line all the way down. Okay, what did we do then? Well, we came across 35 either side the center line to find the top. So I'm going to go ahead and mark those points off, and I'm going to draw those lightly. You'll notice that I'm drawing all the lines from the top all the way to the bottom. Why is that? Because we'll have the back on one side, the front the other side. So we're just trying to speed things up. What did we do next? We put in the height. The overall height was 80, and we did step up here at 20. So I'm going to mark off my 20 and mark off my 80. Again, I can draw that lightly all the way across. Once we've that done, what was the last job we had to do? Well, we had to come up here at 60 degrees on the left and right. Again, just make sure it's attached to the base. So I'm going to come up at 60 on both sides here. Okay, so again, when I draw that in, we'll join that up here, and we can join that up here. So we're going to do the exact same to the other side now. So let's draw that up here at again 60 degrees, and again it's coming straight up here to the 70 mil line. Okay, once we've that done, then we need to draw in our curve at the top the exact same way as we did it over here. What did we have to do? Well, we had to find the center. How did we find the center? We had to open up the compass to radius 60. We had to swing an arc from the start. Okay, and we swung an arc from the end, the same as we did over here, where the start and end was. we were able to join those back to know where the curve started and stopped, and point the compass on our new center, open it all the way up, and we're going to draw our arc all the way around. Okay, that is the back of our development done then, and all we need now to do is go ahead and draw the front. It's going to be the exact same way as we drew the back, it's just in reverse. Now already we've got the base, we've got the top lines, okay, the 70. So all we need to do now is measure in our two heights. This is going to be in reverse to what we've done here. So I'm going to measure down 80 and I'm measuring down 20. Okay, just like I measured up 20 and up 80. So it's just, let's say, an axial symmetry of this. I'm going to draw my light lines across to find those edges. What did we do next? Well, we had to come off at our 60 degrees. So I can go ahead and draw that. Again, that's from the base. So I come out at 60 on both sides. And we join those back up to the top of the 70mm edge. Okay. Once we've that done, the last job for us to do is to put in our curve the exact same way as we did at the top. We've got a start point, we've got an end point. What do? Put the points of the compass down at the start point and we draw an arc. We put the points of the compass down at the end point and we draw an arc. Where the two arcs meet, we put the points of the compass down and we swing our arc all the way around. Okay. Once you've that done, that is the front. And that is our question fully complete. We've drawn the elevation and plan, we've done the end view, and now we have completed the development of the question. Hopefully this video will help you with your homework and your revision. That is the 2018 ordinary level DCG surface geometry question. That's the section C, question 3. Good luck.